One of the important habitat types that you can create on your land is a winter habitat and building a winter paradise, winter whitetail paradise. And the reason I say winter whitetail paradise and that's an important habitat is because really it is the lowest hole in the bucket when you're talking whitetail habitat and whitetail habitat improvement. It also is a habitat that'll fuel your fall hunting success and your fall hunting goals and herd management goals, because after all, if you're not attracting deer and holding them, protecting them during the fall, then you're not going to be able to build any type of herd. What happens in the summer really doesn't matter. And there's a few components of a winter whitetail paradise that you need to build on your land if you're going to attract deer during the winter time. Now, one is thermal protection. Standing here, this is 2-year-old switchgrass right here. Have 1-year-old switchgrass or 1 summer-old switchgrass right here. This switchgrass will be right here. We'll be engulfed in switchgrass next year. Switchgrass is great. It offers screening, thermal protection, bedding, but like all components of habitat, too much of one thing is a really bad thing. And I like lines of switchgrass. We have pockets of switchgrass. We have strips of switchgrass. We have switchgrass bordering food plots. We put random switchgrass pockets out in the field over here, and that's adding structure. It allows small game, rabbits, pheasants to hide and be able to bury within, but it also allows deer bedding in an area that otherwise wouldn't have any deer bedding. Switchgrass is the only grass that'll stand up to this cold winter harsh environment, stand up to snows. It's very rigid, very stiff. In fact, if it's planted thick, it's hard to walk through. No food component. So a lot of switchgrass isn't necessarily a good thing. If you have 40 acres in a field, 40 acres of switchgrass won't do you much, but give you a great bedding area with no food. Deer need bedding, they need food, they need to bed and feed twice during the daytime hours. Same with conifers. Conifers are great. They're great. Conifers are great for snow hindrance, snow screening, and they actually create areas where deer can move within conifers, deer yards, cedar yards, where deer can move around, avoid predators, they escape trails and make maze and trails and pockets within those conifers. They can move around quickly, and the sifting snow and evaporating snow through the branches make sure that there's not too much snow underneath. It also offers thermal protection. But like switchgrass, conifers are pretty useless the rest of the year. So I like pockets of switchgrass, strips of switchgrass, pockets of conifers, strips of conifers, great screening cover. And that's a component of winter habitat. Now another thing, winter food sources. I love brassicas. If you can get corn or beans to make it into December and January, that's also a great food source, of course. But then at the same time, hard regeneration, shrubs, briars. And so the more diversity that you can fit on your land, whether it's switchgrass, conifers, briars, hardwood regeneration, shrubs, and varying ages of hardwoods, then you can start to create that diversity that not only attracts and holds deer and actually feeds deer and gives deer browse during the daytime hours during the wintertime, but also attracts deer as it gets into the late summer and fall, where bucks especially are craving that very thick cover that they can't actually crash their antlers to, their velvet antlers, in the summer. So winter habitat is your lowest hole in the bucket. We feel pretty blessed on this property to be able to plant some cool season forages that make it into the snow, that we can play around with some switchgrass to help diversify the habitat out here, actually start to even hold some small game, because it's not all about deer. But I found if you're creating habitat for whitetails, especially during the wintertime, you can't help but create habitat for small game, varying bird species, pheasants, and it really is the lowest hole in the bucket for a lot of different varieties of wildlife. And we're out here, we're blessed to have this in the area. You can see the trails going through the brush back there. And diversity equals food, edge equals whitetails, and all kinds of wildlife. And we're fortunate to have that out on this property today.